Hey folks, welcome back to Max Nave Horsemanship again today, and I want to talk about something I haven't talked about for a few years actually. Thinking back on when the last time I did this, talk about this stuff, was, and it really applies to these ones here, is when not to do anything. And, well, let me explain. And it's not really that you're doing nothing. I will actually do something with her. I'm not sure what just yet, but we'll figure that out as we go. She'll tell me what we need to do. And already we had a little bit of difficulty, but she learned quickly how to come in here when I request without a halter on. As you see, there's no halter on her. And that's how we like to catch horses. I explained that in another video. Now, what I'm doing today is, well, if you've watched some of my recent videos, I've been saddling these youngsters. And this one in particular is a little bit wary about the saddle. She's not real comfortable with it. The one guy, he's a well-broke horse. He's no problem at all. The other one, she doesn't seem to really care. This one gets a little worried when you put a saddle on her. So today, I'm not going to put a saddle on her. And this is what I'm talking about doing nothing. And it comes down to something I've talked about before, is tack aversion, where when the horse sees a halter or a saddle or something, it says, heck no, I'm out of here. And that will happen. And that will happen frequently if every time you show up with a halter or a saddle, you put it on the horse gets to figuring out, especially if what you do and how you do it isn't really 100% good, and make the horse feel good, you're going to have problems. And, you know, the minute they see that saddle or the halter or whatever it is, they're going to equate that to being put to work, and they're not going to want to do anything to do with it. They're going to see that thing and go, oh no, I don't want that on me. I'm out of here. And that's what will happen. Now, specifically with this one, because she's a little bit uncomfortable with the saddle, today we're not going to put it on her. It's here though. It's just over there behind me a ways. Maybe you can't see it on the camera, I don't know. But it's just hanging on the rail, and that's where it's going to stay. I'm not putting it on one of the horses because I don't want them to think that every time they see that thing that it means it's going to get put on them. If they want to go over and sniff it or whatever, they're welcome to do that. You know, but it's not something that is, you know, means that every time they see it, it's going to get put on them, which is why, again, you'll see I don't even have a halter with me, because it's over there. It's laying on a chair over there. You know, but again, I'm not going to put one on if I don't have to, and I don't think I'm going to today. I'm going to see what we can do at Liberty without a halter, and that way, you know, we won't be putting an extra stress on the horse that it really doesn't need, and isn't in our interest to do this kind of stuff. We want to be as productive as possible and not create problems. We want to eliminate problems. Yes, sweetheart, you're a good girl. So what we're going to do today is we got both the saddle and the halter out here, but we're not going to put them on the horse. And that's what I want to talk about, is every once in a while, that's what you need to do is, you know, and I've talked about just hanging out with the horse and doing nothing, how that's actually good training because you're not putting pressure on the horse. Well, this is very similar to the same thing, is it's going to be a fairly low pressure day, because this one here in particular, she's been getting a little stressed out lately by things. Oh, get your big nose out of my camera. So, well, basically that's what we're going to do today, is we're just going to hang out with her, and we might do a few little things with her and just tell her what a good little girl she is, because, you know, she is, you know, most days. She has a few little quirks, but that's where it gets really interesting, in that I've been working with two of them at the same time, is how different the two of them are. You got your head in the way again. You know, and that's one of the things I've been really enjoying working with these two at the same time, is seeing the differences between the two. And they've actually been a little bit surprising too, because, well, this one here that doesn't like the saddle, what's really interesting is she actually had a saddle on her when she was very, very young. Just a couple weeks after she arrived here, her owner actually put a saddle on her. I thought that was kind of silly doing it that order, but that's what happened. So I figured that putting a saddle on her wouldn't be much of an issue, because she doesn't seem to care. But that's where it gets interesting, is she doesn't care as long as you aren't putting any pressure on her, making any demands of her or anything like that. She'll just, you know, graze or whatever, She doesn't care if there's a saddle on. But as soon as I start putting just that tiny bit extra pressure on and I make a request of her to move a certain direction or something like that, that's when things go south. So today we're going to do exactly what I'm talking about in this video is, well, pretty much nothing. Saddle and halter are both here, hanging on the fence where they can see them, and they will learn that they don't mean a thing. It doesn't mean they're going to get put on them just because they're there, because we don't want to create that problem. And we also want to give her a little bit of a break too. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone doing this stuff. We're not only doing things that are beneficial to her, but we're doing things that are just overall beneficial by, doing nothing at all and giving her a break and all this stuff. It all works towards progress. And it may seem kind of counterproductive doing nothing, but in fact it actually is productive to do nothing sometimes, because like I said, when they see the saddle or the halter or whatever, it doesn't mean it's going on them, because that's not one of those things you want. And I've seen it happen before where one lady, she had one horse that if she wanted to go catch it, as soon as she pulled the lead and halter out of the tack shed, the horse saw it and said, "No, I'm out of here," and he was gone to the other end of the pasture. She had a fairly large pasture, and she didn't feel like walking that whole distance to go get the horse, so she would promptly go put it back in the tack shed and give up and walk away. Not the right thing to do, because then the horse learns that all it has to do to get out of work is just walk away, and the halter and lead are going to get put away and they don't have to worry about it. Well, it doesn't work that way with me. If I decide I'm going to put one on and I go out to catch a horse, I have this saying is, when you go to get a horse, don't come back without one. And if it takes you half an hour or an hour to catch the horse, that's what you're going to do. And in the end, sometimes there was a good example is I had one that every time I went out to get her, one of the other horses kind of liked her, thought that was his girlfriend. And every time I went to go get her, he'd herd her away from me. But he eventually learned that I don't quit. And if I went out to go get her, I didn't come back until I had her. And once he had that figured out, it wasn't long. There was one day I went to go catch her, and he actually went and brought her to me, because he'd figured out that I don't quit anyhow, so this is what you got to do. And I wasn't even working with that horse. I had nothing to do with that one. The one my own horse that I was trying to catch, he would actually start bringing her to me now. But that's one of those things. It's, they learn very quickly, because of things we do. And if every time we show up with a saddle or a halter, we put it on, they very quickly learn that thing means they're getting put to work. And you don't want them to learn that. So that's what this is all about today, is doing nothing. And just give the horse a break. Sometimes that's the best thing to do. Just back off and let the horse just chill out and have a good day, and not be stressed by the things that you're asking of it all the time. And it, like I said, it may seem counterproductive, but in the long run, it's actually quite productive to do nothing at all. So I hope you get something from this. Every time you go see your horse, don't walk out there with a halter and saddle every single time, because that may actually end up creating a pattern that you don't want. And even though you don't realize you're doing it, because we're kind of creatures of habit, you don't realize you're doing it, the horse doesn't forget that. They know this stuff. They got it figured out real good. They're not stupid animals. They're actually very intelligent animals. And when it comes to human habits, they'll figure us out in a heck of a hurry. So I hope you get something out of that today. It's going to be a short one. I'm not going to show you anything, because we're not going to do anything today. But I do want to pass on some advice and explain why I'm not doing anything today. Hope that helps, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye now.